So it feels like a day for call and response. Good afternoon. What a glorious day. Welcome to the investiture of Phillips Academy's 15th head of school, John G. Palfrey Jr. We gather to bear witness to a 21st century manifestation of an ancient ritual, called by times and perhaps more frequently induction, inauguration, or installation. What then is this investiture? It is the formal communal ceremony to begin the tenure of the head teacher of this academy. It is the act of investing or cloaking with authority, confirming or conferring a role. Why do we do this with such formality and symbolism? The procession, the robing, the charge, the gavel, all are important and significant elements. Rituals focus our attention on our purpose. They are also wonderful opportunities for reunion and celebration. John became head of Phillips Academy on July 1st in the quiet, simple act of moving into the northwest corner office on the first floor of George Washington Hall. There was little fanfare, although many of you came through to greet John. Many sent cards, notes, emails, tweets. We hope that we have been welcoming as a community. After all, welcoming is something central to Andover. As an intentional community, none of us is here by chance. Each of us was invited, and for each of us, there was someone here to greet us, to incorporate us into the fellowship of Phillips Academy. And today, we are all here to welcome John. We gladly open our campus to the guests from universities, colleges, peer schools, the town of Andover and neighboring towns, as well as members of the extended Phillips Academy community. Notably, our Board of Trustees and the presidents past and present, Oscar Tang and Peter Currie, our current and emeriti trustees, other alumni, faculty, administrators, staff, students, and parents. We welcome back the 14th head of school and my friend, Barbara Chase, and her husband, David, as well as 12th headmaster Ted Sizer's widow, Nancy, and daughter, Judy. It is upon the shoulders of his predecessors and with the support of all of us that John will stand and lead. We welcome today John's family, especially his mother and father. You must be very proud. We often say to families whose children are beginning here at Andover that there will be days that will challenge him and days of great triumph or success. But never fear, he has earned his spot here, and we will do all we can to help him succeed. In our audacious aspirations, we are blessed to have drawn into this community another visionary leader, committed to our mission here and our national and global engagement with educational challenges of our time. So we welcome you, John. We invoke the Spirit to shine as the sun upon this event and upon your tenure as our head of school. We pray that John is invested today with authority as head of school, and that at the same time, he will be, as the prophet Isaiah says, also clad with zeal as a cloak. Welcome.
The Constitution of Phillips Academy asserts one central goal: The purpose of this institution, said the founders on that April morning 234 years ago, is to teach the great end and real business of living. For emphasis, they placed those words in capital letters. They did not, however, explain what they meant. Oh, they laid heavy emphasis on the master's responsibility for the minds and morals of youth. They struck a balance between knowledge and goodness, and they sketched the outlines of a classical education. But on the great end and real business, they were silent. They left it to others to define, believing that if their experiment was successful, future generations would and should shape that language to their own purpose. In doing so, the founders established this academy not just as a physical entity, but, as one of your predecessors said, as an idea. An idea that would be shaped and reshaped over the course of time. It is an idea that at its heart requires us to imagine the world that our students will inhabit and prepare them for the great end and real business of living there. Under the leadership of the head of school, that is what the faculty does. It takes vision, courage, and patience to do well, qualities that are only engaged and harnessed by exceptional leadership. Sir, on behalf of my faculty colleagues, I bid you welcome to our company. We look forward to your leadership as together we continue a 2-century-old effort to define and to teach the great end and real business of living.
Wow.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you today as a very proud and honored representative of the staff of Phillips Academy. In the kind words of our beloved 14th head of school, Barbara Chase, we are the very fabric that holds this place together. From the paths and halls we travel to the offices, homes, and classrooms that we work, live, and learn in, we, the staff, touch them all. Many have dedicated years to the care of this beautiful place that our faculty and students call home. My late father, Alex, my brother, Andy, my sister-in-law, Catherine, and I have a combined 100 years of service to the Academy. I grew up here, have spent the better part of my adult life here, and I can't imagine having done so in a better place. The faculty, and very often the staff, are like a surrogate family to our students. We provide them with a place to learn and flourish, to become the best and brightest. The staff takes its role here very seriously. We are proud of what we do. As we watch year after year another class graduate and leave us, we feel that we have done our best to ready our children for the next stage of their lives. We are a family, and as with all families, we must sometimes say goodbye. But then we can also look forward to a time when we will welcome new members into our world. That is why we have gathered here today, to welcome the new. So to your family, John, Catherine, Jack, and Emmeline, we say welcome to our family. May your time here be full of all that great memories are made of, and may it enrich your lives as it has mine. Thank you.
Good afternoon. When I came back to school this year, I saw that my favorite building on campus, Pearson, a building whose old red bricks, white doors, and patina copper top I have grown accustomed to, was hidden from view by a massive green tarp. For me, Pearson has always been a place of comfort and familiarity. In all my terms at Andover, I have had a class within its halls. But unlike Bullfinch or Morse or Sam Phil, I wasn't required to take a class there. It was only by my own choice that I came back to Pearson each and every year. As the home to the classics department, Pearson is rooted in the ancient cultures of the Romans and the Greeks. Busts line the classrooms and give context to the languages. It seems almost anachronistic to be studying the works of such prolific authors as Virgil, Catullus, and Caesar, all of whom are dead, by the way, let alone being in one of the oldest structures on campus. A building whose very desks are marked with the history of thousands of Andover students before me. So when I saw the green canvas surrounding Pearson, I realized that the familiar bricks were gone. The white doors I once knew were now barren doorways, and the dome was no longer light green with age. Pearson was being renovated. Pearson was undergoing a change. I wasn't quite sure what to think. Would the familiarity of the new building now escape me? Would the renovation change Pearson as I knew it? These questions were at my mind for some time, as Pearson was still shrouded in a green mystery. As the first weeks of school rolled by, the veil concealing the construction began to clear. More and more of the building was revealed. I laid witness to the new bricks, to the new beige doors, to the new clean copper dome. Immediately, my mind was made. While the renovations had changed the building, the goal of Pearson, to act as a home for the classics, the values and core of Pearson had stayed the same. And the building didn't look too shabby either. Today, we are experiencing a monumental change in leadership. However, the Academy's 234-year-old goals of non-sibby, knowledge, not without goodness, and youth from every quarter remain strongly as the foundation upon which this school rests. Yes, Andover is a school of much tradition. However, what makes Andover special, what makes it different, is its ability to adjust and adapt. Today marks the beginning of a new journey. We will see how age-old customs will blend with new ideas and new technologies in order to shift and strengthen our campus for the future. Together as a school, we shall move forward. I'm confident that our new head of school will lead us well, with a strong sense of direction and with grace in his efforts. So on behalf of the school and the students of Phillips Academy, welcome Mr. Palfrey. I would now like to welcome Rolando Bonachea and MJ Engel to present gifts to Mr. Palfrey and his family.
Friends of Andover, students, faculty, staff, alumni, and fellow trustees, welcome. This investiture is a wonderful celebration, one that doesn't happen often, but is one of the essential affirmations of our institution. Your attendance here and the pomp and regalia and this lovely setting all make it feel a bit like a wedding. And so it is actually, at least in part, a public declaration of values and aspirations, the creation of kinship, and a trust that the community will support the institution and its new head in living up to its precepts. As much as this investiture signals change, there's a sense of continuity in the simple fact that in 234 years, we've only done this 15 times. More importantly, we have with us today Nancy and Judy Sizer and Barbara and David Chase. Thank you very much for being here to welcome John Palfrey and Catherine Carter. And to John and Catherine, we are absolutely delighted that you are here. This portion of today's program is the charge to the new head of school. The Academy's Constitution from 1778 is still apt and lays out well the charge to the master, as the head of school was then called. But above all, says the Constitution, it is expected that the master's attention to the minds and morals of the youth under his charge will exceed every other care, well considering that, though goodness without knowledge is weak and feeble, yet knowledge without goodness is dangerous, and that both united form the noblest character and lay the surest foundation of usefulness to mankind. That Constitution is a wonderful document and describes the core values of this institution: the balance of goodness and knowledge, the objective of providing access to youth from every quarter, and the importance of dedication and selflessness depicted in the school's seal with its beehive and non-sibby motto. The opportunity for us to apply these values is different now than it was then, or even than it was 10 or 15 years ago. This feels like an extraordinary moment in time for Phillips Academy, which is in so many ways at the top of its game, but which is also facing amazing changes brought about by powerful new communication systems, incredible access to information, and an astonishingly interconnected world. And so I might broaden the charge somewhat and suggest 3 dimensions to your leadership task, although the responsibility for meeting the charge rests with all of us who are connected to the school. First, let's keep this a great place to learn. The curriculum will change over time, pedagogy will change over time, the essential literacies for the students will change over time, but the need to balance goodness and knowledge will not. Education will always be a mentored relationship between a student and information, one that produces an engaged and independent learner. That's the point of a liberal arts model. And I would argue that it's more important now than ever, given the rate of change in the world that our students will graduate into. Let's keep Andover the best possible place to learn. Second, let's keep this a great place to work. Continuing to develop and retain an extraordinary faculty and staff may well be the most important charge from the point of view of the institution. Build that human capital in as many dimensions as we can. Develop capabilities in scholarship, pedagogy, leadership, management. The demands on this group are enormous, but the rewards should be as well, not least in the investments of time and care we should make in the professional growth of each person. Third, let's keep this a place of great impact. Clearly, we have the opportunity to provide a transformational experience for each of our students, and that has to be the primary focus. The Andover influence and value system will be felt through the impact of our graduates. But we should also endeavor to have a broader impact, whether it's through systems of learning we develop, specific programs we run, or museum shows we originate at the Addison Gallery. Andover has quite a long history of this. Beginning in 1798, and for the next 133 years, we were in the commercial printing business. It was called the Andover Press. In a short history of the Andover Press, it says that Eliphalet Pearson, I quote from the history, realizing the magical importance of the press in the propagation of ideas, reorganized the printery to make Andover's institutions a more effective power in the educational and religious world. Today's presses use pixels in place of ink, but they're still powerful. To be clear, Andover is a great place to learn, it is a great place to work, and it does have great impact, thanks to many people gathered here now, and many others who dedicated themselves to this academy long before we arrived. But the opportunity today to push ourselves to match our institutional capabilities and aspirations with the needs of our students and secondary education generally is exciting. It makes the work we do here vitally important. It is with distinct pleasure that on behalf of the Board of Trustees and by virtue of the authority vested in the board by the Constitution of Phillips Academy and by the act of incorporation granted by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I hereby declare you, John Palfrey, the 15th head of school of Phillips Academy. John, join me at the podium. In recognition and as evidence of your induction and installation, the Board of Trustees bestows upon you, as insignia of your official authority, a replica of the seal of Phillips Academy designed by Paul Revere. John, stay here. Barbara Chase, would you please come up?
You may be seated. This gavel symbolizes the responsibilities, come stand by me, John, the responsibilities attendant to the position of head of school at Phillips Academy. From 1778 through 2012, that post has been held by only 14 of us, each committed to the lofty values and unique culture of Andover. Today, as its 15th member, John Palfrey joins that succession and makes the same commitment. Through the centuries, the position has carried many names: master, preceptor, principal, headmaster, head of school. But the highest duty for all of us has remained constant. And these words bear mentioning again. The first and principal duty of the master, our Constitution states, is to regulate the tempers, to enlarge the minds, and to form the morals of the youth committed to his care. John Palfrey possesses in abundance the knowledge and goodness to carry on the finest traditions of this academy. Dealing every day with the present, he respects the past and faces the future with vision and confidence. It is with great joy and hope that I proudly pass on this gavel, just one symbol of a great beginning: Finis Origine Pendet. Congratulations, John.
Good afternoon, Andover. Thank you, Mrs. Sykes. I hope that you will all join me in thanking once more the musicians who bring us such great joy with their music. Thank you, Barbara Landis Chase, for the wonderful gavel, and more important, for the beautiful shape in which you leave this community as you and David end your tenure here. And to Peter and to all the trustees present and past, thank you for the seal and for my charge. And thank you, most important, to all of you in the Andover community. Yes, Mrs. Sykes, this is a very warm and welcoming community into which we've been gathered as we take up this extraordinary job. I accept with pleasure and with a very large dose of humility. We are gathered here today to mark a change in leadership, but also to reflect upon the past, present, and future of Phillips Academy. Once two great American educational institutions, Phillips Academy and Abbott Academy, now joined as one. Our narrative today, though, should start not with institutions, but with people, and more specifically, with young people and their parents. I want to acknowledge and to thank all the current and former Phillips Academy students who are here today. You are the reasons why we do what we do. You are the reasons why this academy exists. Thanks also to the Phillips Academy faculty and staff for your exceptional professionalism and devotion to our shared duty. And special thanks to all the parents who are here today, including my own, who led the procession, Sean and Judy Palfrey, to whom I am very grateful. And my deepest and most enduring of thanks to Catherine Carter, my wife and my partner in raising Jack and Emmeline here in the front row. As we begin this new era and look ahead to the exciting things we aspire to do together, we should start by reaffirming the first principles of Phillips Academy. The words are emblazoned on our seal. It's a beautiful seal that Peter has given me. Finis origine pendit, the end depends upon the beginning. It is these first principles that have drawn many of us here. I know that is true for me. It is a combination of the extraordinary people and mission and principles of Phillips Academy that make this place so special, so attractive, and so important in the lives of many. We reaffirm today our commitment to excellence in teaching and learning. Those of us on the faculty are all here because of this shared commitment to excellence. In fact, I can't imagine that we would be at a place that did not share this deep and abiding commitment. Phillips Academy is known worldwide for the excellence of the teaching and learning that takes place here, and ever it should be so. Though we are far from perfect, this academy stands as a beacon of hope and pride high on Andover Hill, in the midst of all too much doubt about whether education in America can be effective. Beyond our commitment to excellence in academics, Andover fundamentally has the right set of values seared into the fabric of this institution. These values have persisted and frankly gotten better in the way that they are practiced over 234 years. I cherish the opportunity that I accept today, in large measure because of the particular values on which Phillips Academy was founded. Our charge here is to do more, as Peter Currie said, than to be excellent classroom teachers, although Mr. Henningsen and others are, of course, excellent classroom teachers. The charge to the head of school, in particular in the Constitution of Phillips Academy, is to train both the minds and the morals of the young people in our care. Though I did not go to Andover, that may surprise some of you. For whatever reason, I chose Exeter back when I was 13. The defining features of my own education are deeply related to the charge that I accept today. The connection between Andover and Exeter is important as a matter of substance. These two schools share more than just a healthy rivalry and confusingly similar names. Andover and Exeter are perhaps best described as cousins, not quite as siblings, started by a nephew, Sam in our case, and an uncle, John in Exeter's. This matters not because Exeter and Andover share just names, but also familiar core values, by which I mean non-sibi, and Hemang has already stated them nicely, or not for self, the call to educate youth from every quarter, and the mandate to impart not just knowledge, but also goodness. I'm grateful to our friend and colleague, Tom Hassan, the principal of Phillips Exeter Academy, who joins us today, and as fate would have it, he was also my college counselor. I am deeply impressed by the manner in which the faculty and staff of Phillips Academy managed to translate these first principles into practice every day. Every day we focus like a laser beam on the core job to ensure the well-being and the world-class education of the more than 1,100 unbelievably wonderful, talented, diverse young people who join us at a crucial stage in their development. I couldn't be more excited about this charge and about the community which I'm joining today. And just as we reaffirm these guiding principles, we should also look ahead to Andover's future and to the future of education in America and around the world. Put in the form of a question, what are the challenges of our time here at Andover and beyond? How can we at Andover contribute in the spirit of non-SIBI and our other founding principles to making the world a better place? There are many possible answers to this question, but I'd like to make a case for 3 of them in particular. First, the provision of access to youth from every quarter to the best education that we can provide here. Second, the establishment of the Surest Foundation. And third, leadership in education beyond the 500 acres of this campus. First, access. The most important institutional commitment of the past decade at Phillips Academy is the historic commitment in 2008 to become a truly need-blind school. This policy, no small feat to manage and to pay for each year, means that access to the extraordinary education at Andover is not limited in any way based upon a parent's ability to pay. I credit many people here today for this far-sighted decision, many trustees and alumni who step up each year to pay for it, and 3 leaders in particular who have recently moved on from active service at Andover, Barbara Landis Chase, Oscar Tang, and Jane Freed. You each leave an important legacy in this and in many other ways. As we look ahead, our work with respect to access is just beginning. The challenges associated with making good on the promise of truly need-blind admissions are substantial and ongoing. It is not enough for us to say that children may attend Phillips Academy regardless of their ability to pay. We must still ensure that we have in hand more than $20 million per year to pay for this commitment. And to make this commitment sustainable, we have to decide to discontinue things that we're doing today. We need to recruit broadly and wisely to ensure that able students, in fact from every quarter, know about Phillips Academy, what we stand for, and what we can offer them. And then once this exceptional mix of young people is here, with their varied backgrounds and education levels, their varied types and degrees of cultural capital, we need to ensure that all students that we admit can get the best of this education and that they are happy and thriving while they are here, no doubt working hard and industriously. Second, we at Phillips Academy can help to address the great challenges of our time through the surest of foundations that we lay in and for our students. One of the most remarkable things about Phillips Academy to someone observing the place for the first time is the collected accomplishments of its graduates and faculty and staff. The instruction and life of the school have prepared great artists and musicians, teachers at every level of education, doctors and lawyers, even lawyers, and also United States presidents, Facebook co-founders, venture capitalists like my friend Mr. Carlin here in the 3rd row, and hedge fund managers for lives of great purpose. I think of the trustees like Peter Currie and the others gathered here today, and their families, which are embodiments of these principles. If we can educate the minds and morals of over 1,100 extraordinary people every year and send them out into the world to do good as they do well, then we are truly accomplishing something great. It may be that our work every day in the classroom does not lead directly to the cure of a rare form of cancer, or for a radical new way to address climate change, or to a stunning new work of visual art. But there's a very substantial chance that we will introduce an intriguing problem to a student in a class on biology or statistics, economics or literature, or Rel Phil, or at the Addison or the Peabody, that will set in motion a lifelong fascination with solving hard problems or making great art. I have a belief that the students with whom we spend this year and the years to come will accomplish breathtaking things, that they will recall what they've learned here as transformative when they do. In 1912, at a ceremony much like this one, Bertha Bailey accepted the job of principal of Abbott Academy. In her investiture address, she made much the same point, and I quote, "Here in our quiet classrooms, in the monotony of everyday life, we plant line upon line and precept upon precept, and we have very little notion of what the results may be. You, alumni of Abbott, are the results. You are the plant matured, the bud blossoming, the fruit ripening. By you, Abbott is judged." Andover students and alumni, how you live and what you go on to do are our shared legacy as teachers and as an institution. I think that what we are doing is in fact about curing disease, about addressing climate change, about creating great art. Students in the wings, please go do these things and more. Make us proud and make the world a better place through your labors. And I urge us all to add a 3rd way in which we can help to address the great issues of our time. This third challenge is to undertake a deep and sustained inquiry into the way that our jobs as teachers are changing in a global and technological age. Neither of these twin pressures, globalization or technological advance, is new, but their combined force has been growing in recent years. Any institution of our kind that ignores these drivers, as complex and multi-edged as they are, does so at its peril. Most educational institutions are doing too little to meet these challenges and will suffer for it. Above all, our reasoning should not be institutional survival, though. We must take up this inquiry because it's the right thing to do for our students. The twin challenges of globalization and technological change are altering the world into which our students live and into which they will graduate. These twin pressures are changing the way that our students are learning and how they might learn if we can figure out how to harness what is great about them and to mitigate the parts that are not so good. These are fabulous opportunities for enhancing teaching and learning, as well as means of undercutting what is great about what we already do today. Our challenge is to determine how technology and globalization can help improve an Andover education, as well as the steps we need to take to prepare our students to address the downsides of these same phenomena. The point is not that we need to throw out all that has worked in 234 years of great teaching and learning at Phillips and Abbott academies in favor of newfangled and unproven approaches to pedagogy or shiny newfangled exchange programs. Far from it. The point is that we need to ask and answer hard questions about what we need to change, about what we do in order to serve our kids well. One of the great blessings of our time is the science that we're coming to know much more about how our children learn. This emerging science of learning can point us to approaches, new and old, that are working in our own classrooms and around the world. This new science of learning can point us also to the new modes of peer instruction that our students are experiencing on their own. On the ground at Andover this year, we've committed to a sustained program of professional development focused on the idea of connected learning, one entry point into this conversation. And I can assure you all that there is wonderful teaching and learning going on here at Andover in both of these ways, and that there's much more still to come. Phillips Academy has long played a leading role in American education. Faculty and students here have contributed in important ways to the advancement of teaching and learning over 200 years. Heads of school in Ted Sizer and Nancy Sizer have played defining roles in educational reform in America. Global programs were a hallmark of Don and Britta McNamar's tenure here. Deans like Josh Miner brought programs like Outward Bound to the United States. Faculty with us here today have advanced outreach programs, innovations in social justice that don't at first blush seem like they belong at an independent school. Institute for the Recruitment of Teachers, Andover Breadloaf, PALS, and MS Squared. So my call to action, my challenge to all of us involved at life at Andover, is to build on this long spirit of innovation. As we go about our work this year and in the years to come, we can and we should become a larger part in the national and international discussion about the future of education. We can and we should focus on innovation in a digital and global age, much as we have in the analog age. We should participate in this conversation not so much to show off Andover, although there's much to show off, and its many good works, but rather to be a part of coming up with solutions to shared problems. Education, like the institutions of journalism, business, and politics, will never be the same as a result of the massive changes that have been brought on by technology and globalization. Institutions like Andover that can adapt to these great demands of our time and can make them work for our students will emerge stronger over time. Andover, here as elsewhere, can help to lead with an appropriate mix of humility and pride in our hard work and in our innovations. The result, I am confident, is not that Andover will become a modern-day correspondence school. I think the answer that we will come up with is quite the opposite. I suspect we will make the case for a particular form of residential education of the sort just like the one we have practiced here on this patch of land for over 200 years, just in a way that takes advantage of and is deeply connected to the virtual. My intuition is the next major building projects at Andover will be in cyberspace, not in physical space, and we'll find new and exciting ways to connect the two. We can connect the zones and the means of learning without losing what is essential about the face-to-face, what is great about the Socratic method, what matters about art and music and sports and dormitory life and community service on campuses such as ours. And we can make the already fantastic Andover education even better in doing so. These are the challenges of our times. This is why I'm here. I suspect this is why we are all here. It is a high calling, and for some of us, perhaps the highest calling. I can't think of more important work, and I couldn't be more joyful and hopeful about the possibilities that lie ahead of us if we think big, act in the here and now, and do it all for the purpose of serving the young people in our care and in the service of the world at large. This will be fun. Thank you.
Please be seated. Today marks the official installation of our new head of school into a very select group, now among Andover's Mount Rushmore of 15. For John, it's a testament of both his professional talent and the culmination of a lengthy period of discernment. For Catherine, it's a leap of faith, trusting that this new vocation will be fruitful and fulfilling, that this new community will provide a welcoming home for both Jack and Emmeline. But for all of us, the living, breathing corpus of this institution, we approach this day from a different sort of vantage point. For us, this day signals a new age. As an institution, we are poised to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and pride. We are confident and excited and hopeful about the direction in which we are headed. Investing John as our new head of school, we have now chosen our future. So I say to all of you, my beloved Andover, let us begin. Amen.